Hi everyone, my name is Clara Razzo and this is my virtual library that was conducted for Education 325 Children's Literature. So the first genre is contemporary realistic fiction. I incorporated the book Holes, The Fault in Our Stars, and Wonder. The second is fantasy, for which there's Harry Potter. It's the whole series. Also Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which was one of my childhood favorites, and the complete Chronicles of Narnia series as well. For historical fiction, I chose Henry's Freedom Box, The Little Pioneer, Who Was Abraham Lincoln. For informational and bibliography, I chose I Am Rosa Parks, Why Should I Recycle, So You Want to Be President. For literature representing diverse populations, I chose Mama the Alien, Same, But Different, and Radiant Child. For poetry, there's The Promise of Change, A Light in the Attic, The Giving Tree. For science fiction, there's The Maze Runner, A Wrinkle in Time, The Giver, and The Hunger Games. Traditional literature and folktales, there's Where the Wild Things Are, Charlotte's Web, and The True Story of the Three Little Pigs. What I got out of this project was that I was familiar with all of these genres, but at the adult level. Thinking back to some of the books from which I read as a child, I didn't realize the category they were a part of. And thanks to completing this project, I've added to my knowledge of children's literature as well as my personal library, which I will one day share to my own class. For example, with A Light in the Attic, when I was reading it, I didn't really understand that it was a part of poetry or really what poetry was. And then when I was introduced to The Promise of Change, it was a different type of poetry. It was historical fiction, something I've never really read or knew about. And some of my favorite books. So some of these books are childhood favorites, although now I'm able to comprehend more about them and their genre, which makes me enjoy them even more. Like I said, A Light in the Attic, The Promise of Change, and one of the newer books is Mama the Alien, because it is a part of the diverse population and it speaks about immigration and just the whole topic of being called an alien and how the child believed his mom to be because that's what it said on her residence card. And I guess one of my least favorite books, I didn't really have a least favorite book. I guess you could say I have a least favorite genre, which is historical fiction. These books I found very interesting, but it is a difficult genre when it comes to keeping children entertained. Some books will just go on and it's hard to keep the children's attention. And some of the books that I would use with my students are perhaps all of these that I chose in specific, but also the informational. One of them that I really enjoyed in informational is Why Should We Recycle, because of the whole topic of everything that's going on with global warming and how the earth is basically dying. And The Promise of Change, because it really introduces the whole segregation subject and social injustice and so many things that children, even to this day, aren't aware of yet. Next would be Radiant Child. It kind of speaks about mental health, which is something that's often not talked about, a topic that's very difficult, but I like how it's introduced. And that's my virtual library.